Welcome to Flawless Shoe Reviews. Today we're comparing the Nike Vomero 18 with the Novablast 5 from the ASICS range, two highly popular max stack shoes that are designed for similar things but they can feel different underfoot. I'm going to break down the differences between them so you have a better idea of which one will work best for you. When we look at the Vomero 18, in the midsole we've got a mixed blend midsole with the ZoomX and the ReactX cushioning to give a really soft, really plush feel when you initiate contact with the ground. Whereas in the Novablast 5 we had a change from the Novablast 4, so we now have the FF Blast Max cushioning, which is bouncier, a bit more responsive, a bit more springy than what we saw in the previous model. So in the Novablast 4 it was a bit more of a performance-based trainer, and the changes to this midsole makes it a bit more of an all-rounder. And when we look at the stack and the drop in this shoe, we've got 41.5 mils in the rear foot, 33.5 in the forefoot, giving you an 8 mil difference from the back to the front. And you've got a 10 mil difference in the Vomero 18, with 44 in the rear foot and 34 in the forefoot. So you've got a bigger drop in this shoe, and I think you can notice it a little bit more because of the geometry of the shoe. So yes, the cushioning, which is quite soft, allows you to sink into it. So it may not be as prominent as what we see in, say, some of the Brooks models, but you're definitely aware of it, and it affects the transition of the shoe in my opinion. So we could have done with a bigger heel bevel on the back of the shoe and a bit more aggressive forefoot rocker to help give that more smooth transition from back to front, but I just feel like it's a little bit clunkier underfoot. Whereas in contrast to that, in the Novablast 5 we've got an excellent forefoot rocker and an excellent heel bevel that comes sharply upward, which means it assists with the initial contact with the ground, and then you transition really quickly from the back to the front of the shoe. So if you're looking for a little bit smoother of a shoe, a slightly lower drop, you might appreciate the Novablast 5, but there are some very positives in the Vomero 18. But first of all, I just want to touch on the stability within the shoe. So we've got some very mild sidewalls on the inside and the outside of the Vomero. They come up, cradle your foot and try to provide some stability and help control those pronation forces. It's coupled up with a relatively stiff heel counter. Again, that cradles your ankle, helping to provide stability when you initiate contact with the ground. We've got even larger sidewalls on the Novablast 5 on the inside and the outside of the heel, and it's also got a stiff heel counter. So they really come up and cradle that ankle, help to control pronation forces. Both of them have a nice broad base of support and some nice sole flare in the forefoot, and that's where the sole comes out wider than where your foot sits in the shoe to try and provide some stability. But because the cushioning is relatively soft and bouncy in both of these shoes, rather than it being a stable neutral, I think we categorise them more as just a classic neutral shoe. Then when we move up on top of the shoes, we've got more of a plush upper on the Vomero and a single engineered mesh on top of the Novablast 5. We've also got a slightly narrower fit on the Vomero 18 around the toe box, so it just comes a bit more into a race fit, but it's a true to size and length, and it does come in a wide version as well. We've got a bit more width in the normal version of the Novablast 5, it's a true to size and length, and it also comes in a wide version. Now there's some key differences in the weight, so we have a much lighter shoe in the Novablast 5, coming in around 255 grams versus 298 grams in the Vomero 18 in a size 9 men's US, so significantly lighter overall in the Novablast 5. Now I'm sure the upper plays a role in that. We've got a much thinner tongue as well that's gusseted, whereas we've got a very padded cushioned tongue on the Vomero 18, which is probably a little bit excessive and unnecessary, but it does mean that you don't get any snap or any bite on the front of your ankle if you lock it down tightly. Then we've got plenty of cushioning around the heel cups, so it's adequate padding for those of you who need that extra bit of protection there. When it comes to using it as a lifestyle shoe, they're both excellent options. Some people might prefer the aesthetics of the Nike Vomero 18, but the Novablast 5 is an excellent option as well if you want to use it as a day-to-day shoe. When it comes to running, they're both your classic marathon distance running shoes. You can do shorter distance 5-10k runs at marathon pace, but because of the weight of the shoe they might struggle to do a little bit faster. The Novablast 5 can probably be a little bit snappier underfoot compared to the Vomero 18, and as I mentioned, it transitions a little bit smoother from the back to the front of the shoe, especially when you try to do those faster paces. So being lighter, having a slightly different geometry and a slightly lower drop just makes it a little bit smoother when you're trying to do more up-tempo workouts. However, if you're looking for all-round protection, lots of padding under your foot, super soft cushioning, and you want to do long distance or marathon pace, then the Vomero 18 can be an excellent option. But overall, they're two great shoes. However, if you've got any opinions on them, drop them in the comment section below. We've got links to the shoes in the description if you want to check out the latest price on Amazon. If you decide to buy through the links on Amazon, it does help fund our channel without affecting the price that you pay. However, if you just found the video helpful or interesting, like, sharing and subscribing does make a massive difference to us. Thank you very much for watching.